boys and girls. It's 420. Look who we
What?
have in the house. Look who we have in the house today. It's Wednesday. We are hump day. We're halfway through the work week. It's after work. It's the time we get to kick back and talk to the local talent that we see on the indie scene and get to invite and get to know just a little bit more than we did, as long as they allow us. This is Stir in the Pot with Donkey Kate and my very special guest. It's the Monster Factory heavyweight champion himself, Bobby Buffet. What's up, my man?
How you doing on this very special day, my friend?
Oh, the champ is in the house, and I've been waiting and waiting to talk to you, my man, for a few reasons. First off, welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, my friend.
Absolutely. There's a few reasons why I've been really, really stoked on having Mr. Buffet. I love saying that, Mr. Buffet. That is this amazing. We're gonna get into
Has a
that.
nice ring to it.
uh, I have seen you from a distance as a fan because you are over at the area of the Monster Factory, and
Mhm.
I am definitely not. I'm over here in CT land. So your home base is, please inform us.
Yeah, I train at the world famous Monster Factory. That's in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Same place, a lot of greats like Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Steve Macklin. Oh my God, all the greats like shoot,
Yes, even
everybody who's anybody for the most part.
even a brand new rising star right now, one Notorious Mimi.
Yes, yes. Formerly known as Notorious Mimi, now Sloane Jacobs in WWE. She has gotten her start at the Monster Factory as well. I trained with
Uh,
her for like my whole time there. Yeah.
she's an absolute treasure. Ms. Mimi is. I know they gave her a different name over on the old NXT Level Up when she was going against Roxy C with her new name. I'm sorry, my man. In my heart, in my
Mm.
soul, she will always be Notorious Mimi. I can never call whatever, and I don't even know what the hell they called her. I kind of don't care, to be honest with you. I just love seeing her perform and getting up on that higher platform, if you will.
Oh yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. She'll always be Mimi in my heart. That's a fact.
Yes.
That's a
You
fact.
know what? When they did it with Biff Busick, I can't call that dude Oni Lorcan. Shut the fuck up. I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple name changes that are a little weird, but I'm
Hey,
sure they
it,
have their little reasons or whatever. I don't know.
it is what it is. If you sign on the dotted line, you make probably a few more bucks than you were previously. You have a different stature. You get to a different level in this world of wrestling. You
Hmm.
got to roll with the punches and see where it takes you.
Very true. Very true. I
I
think
mean,
that's true at every level.
yeah, no, for sure. But that's kind of. I was speaking to Mr. Bougie, Jay Bougie. I don't know if you're aware
Yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Uh,
he's he's freaking great. I would love to wrestle him one day.
oh
He's
wow,
he's
yeah,
doing his thing.
that would be fantastic because himself and a few other of his cohorts over there, PJ Savage, the faceless ones, Shaco and Face as a tag team, they're doing their thing. They just took over IWA. But my point being is, we were just talking. He couldn't remember a specific opponent's name. He has like a 5 or 6 man scramble thing he's got coming up. And I said Dr. Isaac Yankum because he said Isaac something and he couldn't remember it. But those are the memories that really kick. Is you say a name and it triggers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it just brings me to, I can never call her anything but Notorious Mimi. And once Mr. Buffet makes his way up the ranks and gets on a different platform himself, and we get to see him on our TV, I don't care what they call you. They can call you Smoking Joe. I don't give a shit. You're Mr. Buffet to me.
I feel that. I feel that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. It's a good thing to know that like the original gimmicks we come up with are something that stick with people. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely, because we grasp on the ones that we really grasp onto, sir, is why our fandom is because wrestling in my heart and soul, character, storyline. Give me some, give me some gimmick stuff. Mix it
Yeah.
all together, and be good in the ring. Mix it all together, and I am so latched on to when you come through that curtain, through the door, down the ramp, or what have you. And
Absolutely.
Notorious Mimi is one of those. Bobby Buffet, again, one of those. We were talking PAPW, the Flash Fallers, the Kylon Kings, the Havens, the Zechariah Gibbs. We latch on to these characters because they really take some time and effort to to present a character to us. And those are the things that we don't forget right here, my man, as a fan. You know, so
100%.
and it's a lot of visual, but it's a lot of audible too. So let's kind of jump into. I'm gonna go right at the name. I don't even care where you started right now. I don't care how long you've been in the business. I don't care what you've done. Please, sir, talk to talk to the fans about the name Bobby Buffet. And when you come through that curtain, it's all about eat, eat, eat. Where does this all derive from? Give us the orientation, the history of Bobby Buffet.
So I remember it clear as day, and it's funny how kind of akin to what you said. It really comes full circle. Bobby Buffet is the culmination of way bigger than just me. It's not something I sat there and could even begin to form. Like it's nothing I formed at home. Like I'm gonna go to the ring as Bobby Buffet, and I'm gonna be hungry, and it's this. It is so much more than that. My coach, Danny Cage, and I give him the big nod all the time about this. He came up with the character as a joke. And like long story short, I used to go to practice all the time with a headband on, like around the time Bobby Lashley used to do it. And since I'm a bigger dude, he's making a joke. He's like Bobby Lashley, more like Bobby Buffet. We all laughed. He's like, you know what though? That would be so popular if you actually did it and did it right. And in my head, I'm like, you're insane. I was like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Why would I want to? This is before I even had like a practice match yet. I'm super, super green. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing ever. But, you know, taking that, taking where I come from, Plainfield, New Jersey, that's, like bottom of the bottoms in New Jersey. So, like, you have to be kind of willing to roll with punches there. And I'm talking like adversity you'll face every day. It's like a daily challenge. And that's something everybody can relate to, no matter where you come from. But being able to overcome that adversity and still be ready for the next thing, that's kind of how I tied in real life to this character, Bobby Buffet. So no matter what I go through, I'm always hungry for more. Plus, I'm a big dude. I love food. So that's literally me on 11, and I think the fact that it's a character that relates so much to me in my real life, the fans are able to relate to it and they resonate. Like what I'm saying, and that's what kind of culminated in Bobby Buffet being as big as it is now.
Um, I'm going to take a couple things from that because that's such a great little story. You said when Danny Cage goes, if you could do it, but the key words right there was after, if you could do it right,
Hmm.
embracing it, taking it and making it your own and really doing something with it. That's where a lot of characters and gimmicks, if you will, kind of get lost or don't work out with us, the fans, is because you just don't embrace it and just grab onto it, love it and pet it and make it your own. And you
100%.
did that though. So do it and do it. You know what? That's going to be, I make every episode a different title. That's what this one's going to be entitled. Do it and do it right, because that is such a key phrase right there from your trainer, my man. And I am so glad he said that in a nutshell, because I think without that, again, these characters get lost on a young talent trying to find their way through on their beginnings.
Yeah.
So you actually are utilizing this character right off the ripper.
Yeah, 100%. He's a genius. I mean, the psychology that's been kind of instilled in us from the get go is, I think, the reason why me so new to the game gets it kind of quicker than a lot of others that are so new. It's really like a big up to the training, just everything we do. You know.
I can absolutely 1,000, 1,000,000% hear all of that because I'm big on that. I'm an old school guy. The AWA, the WCCW, the NWA, and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. That's what I grew up on. Like Don Morocco, that's my guy.
Yes, Don Morocco was the man.
Face, heel, and I know he didn't play face a whole much, but as a kid, and with what he did, I could believe every. If he was talking in a camera saying he was going to kill somebody, I believed that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I always kind of, like Bob Backlund was really my guy. But as I grew a little bit older in my teenage years and was still into wrestling, Don Morocco, he was just. I really felt him for some reason. Um, but that's what I love as a fan
Mhm.
is the psychology portion of the program that's very missed in certain schools or many schools probably because I've seen a lot of characters come to the table but not really embrace what they do and utilize it and do something with it
Yeah.
and grab it and give us something to latch on the fans, you know. So having that as part of your training right off the beginning, probably one of the biggest tools in the toolbox to have as a wrestler, my man.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the biggest things that wrestlers have to remember nowadays is the very reason why we do this, right? We all were brought into the sport because there was a character at one point that made us feel like we could do this.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's my ultimate goal is to be that platform for so many other people, so that it's my way of paying it forward. Um, but that gets lost on a lot of people as we get in, and we have the ability to kind of create this thing from scratch, but everybody kind of gets lost on the moves portion nowadays.
Hmm.
You know?
A couple things about that because I want to kind of revert back a little bit to the beginnings of Bobby Buffet.
Sure.
It didn't happen with just like you're saying. I'm not sitting in my car listening to a song and all of a sudden like I'm listening to maybe Eat It from Weird Al Yankovic and then all of a sudden, holy shit, I could be
It's a
Bobby
really good
Buffet.
song. It's a really good song. Weird Al is freaking great.
I almost want to say why that's not your entrance theme is beyond me, but you had you had support behind you to come up with this character and make it your own. I know you have to do that professionally, is really grasp onto it, but having support behind you though is such a big thing. We speak a lot about that on this show, a support system. So stoked right off the ripper of your story that we hear your character is pretty driven from your trainer, and that's just amazing to hear because that just shows how much he cares about his students, boys and girls. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
I
Yes.
mean, come on. Um, and another thing is, like you, like you said, that's probably the stupidest thing that I've ever heard him. Wait a minute, I might be able to do something with this.
Yeah. Exactly. I was
So
at the time. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
that's really not a question or a statement. It's just like you know, I think if I just grab onto this and utilize my inner self because you're a bigger dude, and you've already stated you like to eat. I could mess with this a little bit and play some word puns with the eat. Dude, that is just money. You're only using one fucking word that everybody's using their entire life and on a daily basis. And we are, as a crowd, going eat, eat, eat. And I'm like, man, this is some fun wrestling. That's
Yeah.
what we go to wrestling for, to escape, my man.
100%. 100%. And I mean, even the eat chant, that was all organic. I never. As soon as I came out as Bobby Buffet, there was fans in the crowd going, "Oh, you're Bobby Buffet, eat, eat, eat," and it literally turned to something bigger than life. Like
Uh,
I can only be grateful. I can't take credit for anything except for kind of just giving it my all. You know.
that it's a team effort. It seems like right now, um, uh, real quick, because we do like to know, how long said talent has been in the business. Where are we at right now in 2022? How long has Bobby Buffet been in it?
So it's a very complicated answer on my end, just because life happens. You know what I'm saying? It's very real. I started training officially in 2018. So
Okay.
I would be 4 years in the business as of February. But, you know, we had some things that kind of derailed like everything. I've only been on shows like Wrestling as a Worker for probably like 2 years now.
Okay. Now,
Um,
oh, go ahead.
2021 was literally actually the first year that I wrestled like full calendar.
Okay.
So like yeah, everything else in 2020 I only wrestled a month maybe. And then in 2019, I just started getting on the shows at the Monster Factory. So I probably was in like 4 or 5 shows, probably like 2 months worth of shows, so not a lot.
Now, again, I want to revert back to how Bobby Buffet has become because we have a culmination, is what I was going to begin to start with your short tenure so far in your career. We have the culmination of Danny Cage. We have
Hmm.
the culmination of your efforts. We have the culmination of the fans latching on to what your name is and maybe some of your stature and utilizing that to come up with their own thing. And it's starting to become something. And that you're actually watching your career evolve right in front of your face as these little things happen
Yeah,
for the first time. And it's just simply absolutely amazing. And that's what I love about the young talent in wrestling, my man. And that's why I really like to get, you know, and it's cool if I can get somebody that's been in the biz. Dirtbag Dan, he's been in the biz. Bull Dread, they've both been in the biz for 20 years right now.
hmm,
I love talking to the veterans, but I really, really, my passion and my love is getting maybe a first interview of a brand new talent or a first promo. I take my phone at the events, and if they allow me said talent, I say, hey, you got about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, and we can have some fun with a quick promo. I get up in your face and do KK's in the ring, KK's house, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of machine gun you with a bunch of stupid shit, but we have fun while we do it.
right.
And all it is, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with pushing the talent, networking the talent. Maybe a promotion that I go to doesn't know who Bobby Buffet is. And they see him and they're like, hey, I'm going to check this guy's stuff out. You never know. I was always
100%.
told when I started doing this stuff, you never know who's watching. Just because there's not a like or a reaction, just because there's no comment, just because there's not a share, there could be only 3 people that have reacted to that, but up to hundreds of people could have watched it. You just never know.
It's true. Very true.
And that's why I do this kind of stuff, especially the interviews. But the big point, because I can ramble, but the bigger point
Right.
is the young talent getting the firsts, watching them grow in their career, seeing a talent like Mimi, as we spoke of already, on the indie scene. You're looking to get that to that plateau.
Yeah.
You usually the younger talent has watched the WWF or E to get into this business
Hmm.
and to get to that platform. That's what we love. That's what we love to see as fans. So we get so excited. And I want to point out, you as talent, as brothers and sisters and peers and coworkers, you're maybe more excited than we are. Can I be incorrect on saying that when the big news pops out,
Hmm.
we really share that stuff. We really comment on that stuff. But I notice a lot of the peers also do that stuff as well, and you love to lift each other up.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think that's such a great thing in the wrestling industry. But you guys really do put your friends up when that call is made, and I feel it's way bigger uh, of a vibe than the fans is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the, like I remember when I first found out, and I actually was I actually found out just like a slight bit before most everyone else at the factory found out she was getting signed. And I was so happy I kind of almost let it slip a little bit at the show beforehand. Like I was cutting a promo, and I'm like, I'm like, I'm not sure how much longer I'm gonna get to be around Mimi. And then the dad tried to take the mic from me, and I got a talking to afterwards. But like I was so excited for her because, like I said, she's like it's literally a brotherhood. Like you said, it's a brotherhood and a sisterhood when you're in those walls together. Training. It was grueling days for the past couple years. Mimi's like in my age range, so we've kind of been through the same kind of struggles together. You know what I'm saying? And same with everybody else who I've been around who's been in WWE. Like when I first started, Damian Priest was still there. When he got signed, I was super super happy. Like even to this day, like seeing him at WrestleMania, I'm like that guy traded me for like a year, and he's freaking lining up with Edge, someone who I used to watch when I was a little kid. That's crazy.
The
Felix Fernandez.
Yeah, but these are the things as a fan that we
Yeah,
latch onto. I'm sorry,
yeah.
I did not mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Even Felix Fernandez, seeing him ref on NXT 2.0 every day, I'm like, yo, that's my best friend. That's one of my best friends. It's crazy to see. I love it.
You spoke of, I want to be one of those talents where the younger talent sees you on a higher platform and on their TV and says, that guy can do it, I can do it. Or
Mm.
that's the guy, that's who's inspired me. Who are the guys or girls that you were seeing on TV that influenced you to be like, you know what? I think this is what I want to do for like my life. This is how I want to make a living.
I grew up in the ruthless aggression era.
Okay.
And it was enough for me that I didn't really have to even look back. Like seeing people like Booker T was a huge inspiration when I was like younger. Like just seeing a just seeing a black man be world champ, is like that was like all the inspiration I needed. But like
Uh,
also wrestlers like go
just a
ahead,
pause,
sorry.
just a pause. I don't mean to interrupt. You didn't say that very enthusiastic, my man. You got to do it like five times, five times, five times, five times,
The,
five-time
the
world champ. I mean,
five
come
time,
on.
5 time, 5 time, 5 time, 5 time world champion. Oh my gosh, he's the man. He was one of my like literally to this day my favorite wrestler of all time. Him, Triple H was one of my favorites. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, definitely a favorite. John Cena. Everybody in that era kind of did really good to me as far as like kind of telling stories, and they got me kind of really invested. Every kid goes through their phases of like things they are really really into as they grow up, but wrestling was the one thing that as soon as I found it, like I never let go.
Mm.
Grew out of like every other stage except for wrestling.
Uh, First finding it, was it on TV? Was it a live event? Was it with Gramps, moms, pops, a brother, a cousin? How did you really jump into it?
I remember it was like I was a, I was probably in grade school, like 6 or 7, and I was trying to figure out what the other kids in my school kind of were into because I was just trying to make friends, and I had this one kid, like the only kid who would freaking talk to me in school. He was really into wrestling, so I said I'd give it a try. I gave it a try, and I remember the first matches I was watching. It was the best of 7 series with Booker T and Chris Benoit,
Oh, wow.
the United States Championship matches, and that really drew me in. It was crazy seeing how like Booker T was cheating, and he got Randy Orton to replace, and it drew me in. Like even though he was the bad guy in that situation, I don't know, it was just something about him that was able to draw me in, and I wanted to see more. And ever since then, I've been hooked. You
Nice.
know.
Now, we've spoken about the Monster Factory a few times by name.
Mhm.
Um, we, the fans, we don't know what it's like to kind of grow up in an atmosphere of said training facility. Especially me, because I'm built like a candle. I'm not an athlete at all, man. I mean, I break like peanut brittle. Um,
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
I
I
mean, I gotta say, there are a couple skinny guys out there that I have seen do some pretty crazy shit, pretty
You
crazy
know?
stuff, man.
My tag team partner is pretty small. He's pretty small, and he surprises me all the time with the stuff he's willing to do.
Okay, let's hit that there because you had a different tag team partner when I saw you at this past PAPW alley fights. So we're gonna speak on this, and then we're gonna get to the Monster Factory. Talk, talk to us about the Buffet Boys because you are a bigger dude, and your partner definitely is not. The Buffet Boys.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to teach him my ways. You know, he's small, but he's got the attitude. He's got the right attitude. So I think with a little bit of regimen training, I could get him to bulk up a little bit. And
And you and
that's
your
just what
tag team partner and your tag team partner's name is.
his name is Hafiz Ali, but like the one I had the team with this Friday was Jafar. That
Mhm.
was more of a kind of step up in a pinch situation, and I applaud him
Gotcha.
so much for being able to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Buffet Boys. You're a singles wrestler. You're Bobby Buffet. How did this tag team derive?
Um. So like I was a singles wrestler for most of my career, but in 2021, I got the chance to team with one of my best friends at the Monster Factory, and it kind of opened my eyes to like a whole nother aspect of wrestling I really didn't have any experience in.
Okay.
Tag team wrestling is really, really fun. For anybody who like thinks they're just gonna go solo their whole career, I think that's kind of a one-sided way of thinking. That's kind of I can't lie. It's what I thought when I first started wrestling. I'll just be single the whole time. But no, once I opened my mind, I found that I was having a lot more fun. So even though I'm a singles wrestler at the Monster Factory now, um, I would love to tag like anywhere else I go because it's just so fun.
Mm.
So yeah, being able to team with like one of my best friends at the factory, we go out, we experience things together, and I'm a little bit like longer in the business than him, so I'm also able to kind of provide mentorship at the same time.
Okay.
I think that's pretty cool, pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at such a young, at such a young point in your career, it's already kind of spinning around to the newer talent that it's within the Monster Factory. Dude, that's just amazing. I mean, come on.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, like being a champ at the Monster Factory, especially like the guy, it's a lot of responsibility in the forms of being a leader and kind of since I have all these good graces, all these good things that happen to me, I think it's only right that I pay it forward to everybody I can whenever I can. So
Uh,
yeah.
very well said. Love me some Mister Buffet and his words. Such a kind uh, human
Thank
and
you.
athlete. Yes, and athlete. Now let's spin it back around to the Monster Factory because we have been again dropping on the Monster Factory, and I was starting to say we the fans don't know what it's like to kind of grow up in an environment in a training facility and trying to become a performer, uh, an athlete in the world of wrestling. Um, Talk to us about the Monster Factory. I mean, it's got to have one of those special places in your heart for Mr. Buffet.
100%. The factory, I kind of view it as a second home. It's one of those places like akin to like your own room, like what I'm saying. So like when all the drama of the world is kind of weighing on you, you go to that one place like your room, and you kind of leave it at the door when it shuts.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then now in here, you're a whole different person. You're allowed to be yourself. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to, and it's that's what the Monster Factory is to me. It's like some place I can go, leave the drama of the world alone. Here, I'm a completely different person. Here, I'm here to work hard with a bunch of other people who want the same thing as me. We help each other. You know what I'm saying? It's really like a brotherhood. I'm used to the whole team aspect. I used to play football. I played semi-pro football before I started wrestling. And like I'm glad that in an industry where we're all kind of fighting for the same spot, there's still so much camaraderie there. You know, like you said, we all support each other, especially at the factory. Um, it's no nonsense. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely true. It's a reason why Danny K says he's the best coach in the world because honestly, the stuff I know we do as compared to stuff I know people like some of my peers at different places do, it's totally different. It's totally
Mhm.
different. And yeah, I'm kind of blessed to be able to have found that school as opposed to like any other place I could have went.
And please elaborate on that because I love hearing why the Monster Factory and not another place because the the training schools for wrestling have is more now than ever along with the amount of wrestling that the fans can take in. But why the Monster Factory? How did you come across it?
Um, when I was about 10, I knew I was if I was going to start wrestling, I was going to train at the Monster Factory. It's crazy, but
Really?
the way it happened and the way I envisioned it and the way it happened were totally different. Um, so I was I was a big fan of Sheamus when he first started in WWE, and he had one of the fastest rises from debuting on the main roster to being WWE champion. That's
For
everybody's
real?
goal.
Yeah, for real.
So I was like, where does this guy train? Because I need to be trained by the same people he was trained by. Lo and behold, I look it up. He was trained at the Monster Factory in New Jersey. I'm super stoked. I live in New Jersey. I'm like, so it's not gonna be that bad. I figured I was gonna graduate high school, go to college, save up some money, bam, and just join wrestling school when I'm of age. Totally didn't happen like that. I was in high school, super bored because I knew I didn't want to go to college. I knew that I was good enough to play football in college, but I didn't really care if I went or not because I knew that regardless of what I did, I didn't need to go to college for what I wanted to do. Either it was either play football or wrestling. In my heart, I really wanted to wrestle. So I got a scholarship to play football in Texas. Lo and behold, I didn't go. Uh, then I tried out for semi pro, made the team, played the season, and I was just so bored. I'm 19 at this point. And I'm like, I'm like, I literally do the same thing every day. I just go to work, play football, go home. That's it. So I'm on Twitter one day at my job, and I live, mind you, when I lived about 2 hours from the Monster Factory,
Oh wow.
so it wasn't like 45 minute or 30 super close drive. I'm in North Jersey, Paulsboro Monster Factory. That's like literally the bottom. I've never been anywhere close to it. Um,
2 hours for me to some of these Jersey shows if I want to go see it, and I'm like, shit, man.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, like I used to live like near New York, right? And I'm on Twitter at work one day, just shooting this shit. I'm following Danny Cage on Twitter, and I had commented on one of his things. I'm like, man, I should be at the factory. He's like, what's stopping you? I'm like, to be honest, I don't know. He's like, what are you doing later? I'm like, I get off at 3. He's like, come down.
Yeah.
So I take my little beater car down to the factory, do a little tryout. I don't even know how my car made it that far because it was overheating. Um, drove 2 hours, tried out. I freaking loved it. Ever since then, you could not pull me from that building. Um, like the first thing I did when I went inside, I'm like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Exactly where I'm supposed to be.
You're doing the football. You have a regular job. You're doing the football, semi-pro at that point. You are so not feeling it. You take not only a chance on yourself, but a chance with your poor car to take that drive and hope, boys and girls, are you hearing this story? With the hopes that he makes it just one way, just get me to the Monster Factory, pretty please, to get
100%.
this tryout in, and it was not the feeling you get from football.
No, not at all. Like I knew I was good at football all my life, but it just never gave me the same satisfaction. Like I didn't even need to. Let me put it this way: paying my dues in wrestling was more fun than the greatest joy that I've had in football. Because it's like it's just a different passion. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different level of passion I have for wrestling as opposed to football.
Ah, beautiful. So I love me some Bobby Buffet. Boys and girls, don't we love us some Bobby Buffet? I know this isn't live and you're not supposed to answer me right back, but son of a bitch, I love me some Bobby Buffet. Now,
Thank you, thank you.
talk to us about your journey leading up to where you're at right now in your career because you hold the big belt, the big kahuna. You are the guy, like you said earlier. You're the one on top of the mountain right now at the Monster Factory. You are the
Hmm.
MFPW heavyweight champion, and I see that you hold that very proudly and respectfully. Talk to us, the fans, about that journey. And I know you said it's only been a couple years here for you, but getting to this point, get us to the match of you winning said title, if you could, please.
If this is the one thing, this like I could literally, if my wrestling career ended right now, I feel like I have enough in this story to inspire anybody, and that's how I could preface this. When I first started at the Monster Factory, I knew from the jump I wanted to be heavyweight champion, no doubt about it. And I used to always hang around, try to be around the champions, try to see what they do in comparison. Um, they might think I'm crazy as like a super newbie, like one day I'm gonna have that belt, blah blah blah. They're like, yeah, whatever, kid. When I when I finally debut on shows, probably about 3 months in, I get my first heavyweight championship match. Now this is something I know. People who've been training for years. Like I know my one of my best friends been training for 10 years, never had a heavyweight championship match, and I get it in 3 months. So I already had the seed planted in my head. Maybe this is a possibility. Like as long as I keep working hard, this should be a possibility, a very real possibility. So I just tried to keep manifesting it, and life got in the way. Like a month, probably a month after that first shot, I tore my shoulder, tore the rotator cuff in my shoulder, and then the pandemic happened, and then I got into a little bit of trouble with the law, and I was gone from the factory for like about a total of about a year. I missed virtually the whole 2020, and I didn't make my return until February 2021. And my first match back at the Monster Factory was on a pre-show. A year later, literally a year later, February 2022, I'm one of the longest reigning MFPW heavyweight champions of all time.
Wow.
It's very surreal. Like every day, I literally wake up and like, wow, I can't believe I'm the champion. It wasn't even supposed to happen. I we had a battle royal in September. I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but
No, 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 no. That's what. Give it to us, baby.
there was a battle royal in September, and the winner was gonna face Steve Macklin for the MFPW Heavyweight Championship. He just won it, blah blah blah. And I lost. I was the runner up. Someone else won. Someone else was supposed to be the MFPW Heavyweight Champion. And we went to go wrestle in New England, probably like a week before the match happened. And I remember he came back like rocked. He didn't remember anything from his match, and he ended up getting a concussion that night. So then, I'm thinking, hopefully he'll be good for next week, whatever, whatever. My friend calls me. He's like, "Yo, did you know you're facing Steve Macklin for the title?" I'm like, "What?" Like, I never know about these things beforehand. It's like, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Check Facebook." He he just put it out. You're facing him for the belt, and I'm like, are you serious?
Whoa.
This is crazy. So I'm jumping around. I'm like, okay, okay, I got to get super ready for this match, not knowing what's gonna happen. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but I never want to get my hopes up. You
Right,
know, the
right.
card is always subject to change, right?
Mhm.
I didn't know until the day I walked in that I was winning the belt. Um, and it just was like, I'm like, okay, cool, cool. Cause I'm thinking like, what is supposed to happen? Maybe it's just like, maybe it's gonna be like, I defended a couple times and then lose it. But no, I feel like my coach sees how much like I'm willing to work for this, how much I'm willing to put the monster factory on my back, how much I'm willing to go above and beyond what's asked to because of a love of this. And I feel like that's the reason why I get to represent the monster factory as the champ. Um, it's like I said, it's very surreal. Every day I wake up and I'm like, damn, I'm really the heavyweight champion. Like this is the same belt Matt Riddle held. This is the same belt Damian Priest held. And I've held it longer than most of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy to me. It's very crazy.
The promotion seems to see a value and a worth in one Bobby Buffet is what I'm getting from your story at the Monster Factory.
Yes. Um, but like it's a redemption story of the ages. Like literally the end of 2020, I was facing a year and a half in jail over marijuana. You know what I'm saying? I make my return. I'm on the pre-show, 2021. A year later, I'm one of the longest reigning heavyweight champions of all time.
That's so
Crazy.
crazy. How many days are we at right now as the Monster Factory champ?
As we speak, I'm at 192 days.
Oh,
Um, there is only there's only four people above me. I'm at five people above me, all of which, for the most part, either signed big contracts or were like superstars at the factory. Um,
mhm.
LSG, Leon St. Giovanni from Ring of Honor, he's right a step above me, but by the time we get to our next show, I'll pass him. Um, Damian Priest, if I keep it another week, I'll pass him.
Oh, wow.
Uh, Adrian Soriano from Ring of Honor, if I
Yeah.
keep it another 2 weeks, I'll pass him.
Oh,
And then at that number one spot, actually, someone you interviewed, Travis Jacobs, he's at that number one spot.
I haven't interviewed him. He's been blowing me off, man. He's
Are
been
you
he,
serious?
yeah, yeah. Though you know how he treats me at the shows. That's how he's treating me for this interview. And
Wow.
I'm not feeling the love, Mister Buffet.
I gotta be some more sensitive to him.
Oh, yes, please do, because I was going to bring up Mr. Jacobs and his no selling of the and his no selling of the interview. That would be fantastic. If you could beat some stirring the pot sense into him, that would be such a fantastic event. Yes,
Oh
and I
yeah.
know that you guys are familiar with each other, and I was going to be bringing said Mr. Jacobs up. Um, he, you're telling us the fans that Travis Jacobs to date is the longest reigning Monster Factory heavyweight champion?
Yep. Yep. He is 264 days. That's him at number one.
Holy crap. Not to take anything away from Mr. Jacobs, but I did not see that coming.
Oh yeah, no, he's you know, personality aside, he's a very, very, very talented opponent. One of the toughest opponents I've ever faced. I have to
No,
be
no,
honest.
no. Definitely not to take any talent away from one Mr. Jacobs, because he's come about this close from taking me out a couple times.
Oh
Um,
snap!
yeah, I actually watched him and Lucas Chase. They uh, poor Bobby Jr. Bobby Orlando was in the ring, and Bobby Jr. was kind of outside of the ring, and Travis Jacobs took poor Bobby Jr., threw him, and I kept yelling at Mr. Jacobs, no, 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 no. He threw Bobby Jr. to the Cure Lucas Chase, and Lucas Chase gave him like a pop up Samoan backdrop.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, and I immediately called Peter. I was
Now,
very disappointed. I was very disappointed.
how come I didn't think of that? Thank you. I
You were in the
appreciate
heat
that.
of the moment.
I was.
You
Dude,
were in the
I
heat of
had
the moment.
tears. Seeing Bobby Jr. getting accosted like that, it hurts me.
I thought it was very disrespectful. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. And they should be brought up on charges. Still to date, they should be brought up on charges.
100%.
Yeah, you know what? And since we're on the topic, I've seen HOP super kick and Samoa drop and do some other and Hakim Ali. I saw him jump up and do a twisty splash on said Bobby Jr. Those two, the House of Pain, they should be brought up on charges as well. Since we're on the topic.
I had no idea they did that.
Oh, I will reshare the footage just for you, Mr. Buffet, and I will tag you.
Please do. Please do. I can't
Yes.
believe what I'm hearing.
Yes, because you will be as disappointed as I was in the unfolding of poor Bobby Jr.'s demise.
Poor Bobby Jr. Let's get an
Makes
F in the
me
chat for a fallen soldier.
yes, it makes me sad and mad at the same time just speaking on it. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Gotta
Okay.
think about my man's Bobby Jr. He's Bobby. Bobby is a great wrestler. I love his gimmick. I love his character. I've seen him a couple times. He's been around. I would love to wrestle him as well. You know what I'm saying? All the guys that are killing it on the indies.
Yes. Talk about embracing a character, my man.
Right. He's the man. Bobby versus Bobby. Come on, somebody book it.
Oh shit! Anybody around here, please don't make me travel 3 hours to see this. Somebody in my area, PPW, Tesla Strength, anywhere in Massachusetts, basically. Well, not
Yeah,
anywhere because you can drive pretty far in Massachusetts. Not anywhere in Massachusetts. But anyways, somebody booked a Bobby v. Bobby. I would be there for that.
100%.
Yes. Oh my God.
Get the people what they want.
Yeah, and I'm some of the people. I want that. I want to see Bobby Orlando. I want to see Bobby Jr. I want to see Bobby Jr. Jr. Have you ever met Bobby Jr. Jr.?
No. Bobby Jr. has a junior?
He's a little pequeño. He's so cute. Bobby Jr. Jr. He's so damn cute. Yes, there's a Bobby Jr. Jr.
Bobby Jr. is fresh. How old is Bobby Jr.?
That I'm not privy to that kind of information. Bobby Orlando does not speak on that kind of stuff.
Huh.
Maybe he would to you, but not to me.
Bobby Jr. might be a little fast.
Man, I get going about Bobby Orlando. That guy will come out through the curtains over the course of time. We have a love for each other. I don't know where it started or how it started, but there is a kindling love between myself and Bobby Orlando. He comes out through the curtain and he grabs my phone and walks to the ring with my fucking phone in his hand. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, he's pretty funny. He's pretty funny.
It's some of the most amazing stuff. And then his cohort, if you will, from the Shook crew, Mr. Bryce Donovan, he actually did the same thing in following suit a couple events down the road. And I'm like, my God, I wish this would happen all the time. I look back at this footage and I see them grab the phone and do their thing. It's just unbelievable. I love that kind of stuff. So cool. So cool. And could I just say, right, as we're speaking on something like this?
Sure.
Talking awful fast. I feel like I'm on a little cocaine here. It's only 4:20. Me as a fan, I've always said I'm just a guy with a phone that goes to the shows and does my thing, and then I network with the talent, and I come up with some fantastic, amazing. So many. It's been some great years over the past 5 or 6 years being in the indie scene, going to it and making these relationships and friendships outside the ring. But as a fan, Mr. Buffet, having a guy like a Bobby Orlando and a Bryce Donovan just grab my camera and really just do something other than the normal come out and do their shtick or whatever. Any little nuance on the side, I just latch on to as a fan because it all adds up in the
Hmm.
long run. Because you'll see these memories come on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my god, that was just simply amazing. But any added little nuance to your character as any sorts of evolution, we fans, I've always said, we are the easiest people in the universe to latch on to something. We
That's
are,
true.
and I don't want to use the word stupid, but we are stupid. We will say and chant anything. I mean, we chant eat, eat, eat. I mean, that's a perfect. And I'm not saying it's stupid,
No, no, I got you.
but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you can captivate an audience good enough, yeah, you're right. You can get them to do almost anything. And I wish everything was kind of more linear in wrestling. Because if I could bring my my trophy around, I would do so much more. Like at the Monster Factory, I won a trophy, and it was for we have a Larry Sharp Memorial Cup, every year. It's a big tournament, and I won it this year. Um, and Halloween, I put candy in it and I threw it to the crowd members. Like I wish I could do that everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Christmas, I put candy canes, stuff like that. Like I like to have fun with my gimmick. Like anything I could do, you know, I might just start stealing hot dogs from some of the fans. Kind of mean, but I guess you guys would like to feed me, right? Somebody
No,
would.
yeah. I mean, hey, an athlete has to eat.
Yeah, sometimes in there when I get like beat up, where I'm going like a long distance,
Uh-huh.
shoot, I might need some fuel. I might need to refuel sometimes. I
I
wrestled
have. Go ahead.
one of the longest one of the longest title matches in Must Factor history. It was 45 minutes. I needed definitely to regain my fuel in that match. Oh my gosh, I was drinking water bottles from like 10 of the fans. I wish I could do that more.
Being something involved in that type of situation in your career, especially so young right now, a long match like that's got to really, I mean, push you to the brink of your limits, if not beyond your limits, Mr. Buffet.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I would have never known how kind of develop my cardio and some of the things I do as like a bigger guy. I would have never known it was that special until I branched out.
Hmm.
I mean, my coach always kind of knew I was special, but he never would be like, "Oh my God, like you're the best thing," because he doesn't want me to get a big head.
Right.
And I think that's kind of important. Like I like to leapfrog, I like to jump, I like to flip, I like to do all this stuff. I thought everybody could do it, but now the more I go around, I see like a lot of bigger wrestlers can't do that type of stuff. So
Hmm.
um, it's really just akin to the training. Again, it goes back to that all the time.
Uh, with the pandemic, uh, wrestling and obviously much of everything was shut down.
Hmm.
Um, I know you talked about an injury right pre-COVID. Around here, we like to call it kin COVID. Kin COVID.
I like
No,
that. I
no,
like
no,
that.
no. Uh, how do how does an athlete as yourself, especially you're just kind of you're just trying to almost like just getting started here in the game, and you're like, and I know the injury again. But how do you, as an athlete, keep it going to whenever the world is ready to open up? How did you kind of keep it rolling?
It was more a mental game really than physical.
Hmm.
Uh, like because when I got injured, it was literally prime time. I was just starting to get white hot. Um, I missed out on some of the biggest matches probably, and being so young in that career, I'm like, oh, that's everything. I like February was the shortest month, and I probably wrestled more in February than any other month. And I was supposed to team with Falaba from Impact. I was supposed to face Cheeseburger from ROH. and so young, I'm like, oh, I'm missing on these things. But the arm injury is serious. I had to take it seriously. And it was like months of physical therapy after surgery. Um, and I just knew, I like seeing some of the people kind of, when I started, they were starting to win titles or do big things. I see them starting to branch out other companies. You know, that type of stuff kind of helped to motivate me as well. Kind of get back into the swing of things. I didn't want to fall behind at all, but I kind of did. But I didn't want to. So it was just kind of a mental thing more than physical. The physical part is always easy.
Yeah, and I speak of both, with the body, the mental and the physical. They have to be both there. One without the other, you can't elevate your game. You can't get to that next level, to that platform of the WWE, the AEW, or the major companies out there. So we always speak on that. Had a couple breakdowns of said topic on STP, but that's what's awesome about talking to the talent as yourself and others is that's why I don't write anything down or research anything. I've never really met you, a couple of times, but we've never like really hung out and chit chatted or anything like that.
Right.
So this is kind of really our first meeting. Um, but these are the reasons why I don't go look back at what your matches look like or what you've done or where you come from, or I don't write any questions down and I don't do any prep and I hit the record button and I hope for the best, is because of these conversations of such that we've had tonight. We're just a couple minutes shy of an hour and it feels like it's been about 15-20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
um and but if I set a formula, where did you train? How long have you been in the business? What's your favorite match? Who's your favorite superstar? If I do a formula, we don't get to have this organic conversation of a couple friends hanging out talking wrestling and the career of said talent. And um, Mr. Buffet, you've been so informational. You've been so giving, um, with everything. And I absolutely adore me some Mr. Buffet. I don't care if
Thank you. Thank you.
had a little run in with with the law. I mean, I have too. Who the fuck hasn't? I mean, come on.
Yeah, a lot of people have. It's very weird, how the judicial system works. That's a topic, that's a whole another topic in and of itself. But
Hmm.
yeah, uh I think the most important thing in this world is who's a good person. Because a lot of good people kind of end up in bad situations. But
Hmm.
I feel like as long as your intentions are good, the world should work out kind of in your favor.
And I gotta say, speaking to you for the past hour, I just feel a lot of love from Bobby, a lot of love and passion for the sport and the art form of wrestling itself.
100%.
You seem to be doing the work, what it takes. You seem to be doing the drives, branching out, spreading your wings. And that's the biggest, one of the biggest hurdles of the younger talent. And you've already kind of jumped that hurdle because you feel comfortable at home. It's the fan base maybe that you're used to, or it's the friends that you've been working with for the past
Hmm.
year or two or three, and you're afraid of that question mark on the road and who you're going to go against, how are they going to be, who were they trained by, are they safe, and many other questions. And I get all of that, but to get away from home at an early stage in your career, nothing, and I do mean nothing but big things Mr. Buffet from here on out, man, because that's one of the biggest things. I truly have to say, as a fan's perspective, I see that time and time again where there's guys and girls that are just so comfortable staying home and they think they're going to get to this level. You can't get to this level without leaving the nest, my love.
100%.
you know?
100%. Hmm.
I, So, not to slight any company or not to say any company is better than any other company or whatever, but uh, what are your what promotions right now does Bobby Buffet have his eyes set on? Is it the Beyonds and the Limitlesses, or is it just you're bypassing all of that and you're going to the Impact and the NWA? And where are your eyes set right now?
Um, that's a really good question. I think in the immediate future, like I want to keep a level, a realistic kind of frame of mind, but I also want to manifest just like I did everything else, the bigger picture. So my ultimate goal in as a form of like level in wrestling, kind of just gave it away. I want to be a WWE Hall of Famer. That's like the peak goal to the like end of an era when I hang it up. That's what I want to have said. Like I'm a WWE Hall of Famer because I made a difference enough, to kind of leave a legacy. um, as far as like the next year or so, I would love to be. I would love to be at Beyond. I'm actually trying to figure out like one of the next wrestling opens I can go to, end up on one of the shows because I believe I'm pretty talented enough to be on these shows. I feel like I have something to give these crowds. Beyond Limitless. I'd love to be on AEW Dark. I'd love to be House of Glory. I'd love to be chaotic. I'd love to be on NEW. I went to Northeast Wrestling um, and just went to go set up. I thought it was a really good atmosphere. Mr. Lombardi is a cool dude. Who runs that promotion. I think I can make magic there. Um, but the grand scheme, like I, I want to go anywhere. I'm willing to go anywhere. I'm willing to do anything because I love to pay the dues. Like I love the sport this much. But I also feel like it's about that time I like challenge myself. So I want to get into the bigger promotions where the
Mhm.
lights are like, it's kind of pressure time
Right.
to see, oh, can you perform with people like of this level? Like the people like the Encore, Moores, or Jay Bougie, he's doing his thing. Kylon, all of them, they're doing their thing. They're kind of breaking out. And these guys are like my age. So it's like, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
uh, the heart and the passion is there, my man, and I know the drive is absolutely there too. I, if you say you're going to be on Wrestling Open, I believe you because those are the doors that open to those bigger stages to the the main shows at Beyonds and such,
Hmm.
and working your way. I'm sorry, I was just getting distracted. There's some craziness going on the other side of these walls in my household.
Oh,
Either
snap.
somebody's getting tickled to death or literally getting like death is becoming somebody. I think someone's became being tickled to death is what's going on out
Oh, snap.
there.
Been
uh,
there.
dude, I am so skinny. I am like the most ticklish person in the universe, basically. Um, Getting on these bigger stages and having the higher profile matches with different names, like you're saying, these guys that are really stepping up and starting to break out a little bit more and doing their thing. You're seeing their names more often than not on different platforms in different areas.
Hmm.
I mean, cheese and rice with the Miracle Generation, the Haven collectively, and Kylon and Dustin Waller. The four of them make Miracle Generation, but more times than not, it's usually Dustin and Kylon as a tag team. My goodness, these guys are almost everywhere nowadays on the Eastern Seaboard. And it's really, really cool because I've seen Dustin from day one, Kylon from day one, Haven
Hmm.
from day one, and the Zachariah Gibbs from day one, and stuff like that. We're seeing guys like MIT at Paradise Alley that are coming up from day one, and I love that shit. The kids
Yeah.
over at TOS, the Sammy Diaz, Jay Bricks, Richard E. Stone, Elijah Six that make up the firm. Those guys, I've seen all from day one, and I absolutely love seeing that stuff.
100%. Uh, honestly, Dustin, the Haven, Kylon, they're the only reasons I even branched out to PAPW. Um, they, with the exception of Kylon, they were the actual team I faced my first pre-show back, first
Oh
pre-show
wow.
match back. That same one where a year later that I ended up being the longest. So like
Huh.
they came to the factory with Richard Holiday. You know, Richard Holiday's been at the factory a couple times, and he tells Dan, he's like, "Hey, these kids know how to work. Put them in a show." He 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 picked a couple of us to go against them. I'm like, yeah, they really are pretty good. Like, so making a connection. Now, when it's time for me to branch out, I'm like, hey guys, do you mind if I come down there and help set up? Sure, yeah, come on down. And then, my first match at PAPW was against the Haven, with my partner Fees. So like, it's just crazy how that kind of give and takes works. And
Yes.
we don't even like know each other that well. Like, we know each other, but it's kind of keeping that connection open. And now they're some of my best friends on the indies, to be honest. Like some of the nicest people I met in this business. We kind of support each other from a distance. I seen Kylon not too long ago. We were talking about the wrestling open. I see Shem and Onyx all the time.
Mhm.
They're cool peoples. Dustin all the time. They're cool peoples.
I, that's a very, very cool aspect about wrestling is it starts off as a working relationship and then it soon blossoms into a friendship very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, we've talking some fine talent, boys and girls. If you don't know any of the names that we've spoken of, look them up on the old face page and Twitter and the YouTube or whatever your platforms are. If you don't know of the Monster Factory, Mr. Buffet, the Notorious Mimi, Travis Jacobs, and some of the other names that we've mentioned, look that talent up. Look up the Monster Factory. Look up some of these other promotions we've spoke of, the PAPWs, the TOSs and stuff. I always say that if you're a fan and you're not familiar with a talent or a promotion, it only takes a hit of a like to give a follow. Check out their stuff, check out the talent. You might run into a talent like Mr. Buffet that you really latch onto. You may be an aspiring wrestler yourself. You may be just a casual fan. You never know. Where networking to the new places and new talent lead you. And that's why I really love just checking out different places and talking to the different talent on the STP platform because I used to do them all face to face. I would, go to their homes or getaway places, or some would like make me meet them at a park because they didn't want me to know their address, which I don't blame them at all. I wouldn't want to give them. I wouldn't want to give me my address either. But I used to do everything face to face until the pandemic hit. And then when that happened, I'm like, what the hell do I do? So I started the Skype version of STP, and it's really kind of broadened out my horizons because now I wouldn't be able to speak to talent such as Mr. Buffet.
Right, right. We're in two different states two states apart from each other. But I think that kind of the way the world changed, kind of through the COVID era, it's kind of beneficial for people in this business at least, because now that we're all forced to kind of network through the phone, it opens up doors that we probably wouldn't have been able to open if it wasn't for that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people be kind of scared to interact and make those connections face to face, and COVID kind of forced us, to interact through our phones. I think it kind of was beneficial a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And again, with my reach being so much further than ever, I would have never talked to as much talent, first off. Um, but I would never have made even more friendships and more relationships with the talent that I've spoken to for the first time on the interviews and stuff. So that's really been just absolutely amazing for personally for me as a fan. Speaking to more and more talent. This is actually going to be episode 312. I started doing Skypes in March of 2020 when the world took a shitter, and I was only at episode 26.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So you've
And
been
I've
grinding.
taken and I've taken months off in between. Like definitely, like right now, we are in the middle of 15 days of 15 interviews.
Wow.
So, so
Wow.
right now we are five, six, we are eight interviews. We're like dead center in the middle of 15 interviews in 15 days. Um, let me
Kudos to
do a little
you.
rewind. Yeah, man. But that's without doing that. I could do one a week. I could do one a month. I could do one bi-weekly or whatever. That's not enough for me at times because I want to speak to more talent. I want to hear more stories. I want to hear how they got into the business. I want the fans to hear information that maybe I'm not asking all the questions that they would, but maybe I am asking some of the things that they want to know about some of our favorite talent that we see on the indie scene. And I was just so into it at one point, Mr. Buffet. I set myself up for probably failure, but it came out kind of successful.
Hmm.
5 weeks time, just 5 weeks amount of time. I did 115 interviews.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. We were doing an average of 25 interviews a week. I was doing 3 after work, 4 or 5 or 6 on a Saturday and a Sunday. And we were just balls to the wall with interviews. And I just let loose. But then I took some months off. Then I came back for a little bit. Then I took some months off. And this is actually a return, to be honest with you. My last one was like Christmas. Then I did Mr. Waller in January. I just felt like I should talk to Mr. Waller at his point in his career at that time. It just, I don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
it was. And I reached out and I said, hey, would you mind doing an SCP? I don't have a schedule going around or nothing, but I just really feel I need to talk to you for some reason. And it came off very well. And the stories that I got out of him was just absolutely a little bit was personal and right in my heart because of the passing of Big Jim.
Yes.
And
RIP to him.
I'm so glad I asked him for that
God rest
interview.
his soul.
Yes, my man, Big Jim Anderson. But then I took more months off, and here we are. I just figured, I don't know why. I was like, hey, let's do 10 interviews in 10 days. And then it turned into, hey, let's do 15 interviews in 15 days. Um, so, Mr. Buffet, you are dead center in our little marathon of 15 interviews in 15 days. And I cannot thank you so much for taking some of the time out of your life to talk to us, the fans, to bring us into your life, to talk to us about your career, your beginnings, where you're at. You're one of the most longest reigning Monster Factory champions to date, heavyweight champions to date. You're right on the cusp of breaking some records, but who's counting? And uh, before I do let you go, I want to get into two things. First thing is since you are branching out and you are doing some of these drives, you've got to have at least one fun story that you can tell us, a fan, on being on the road, maybe with a little car full of your peers or your coworkers, if you will, your brothers, or anything. If you have a fun little story you can share with us before we let you go, we love to hear road stories from the talent.
Sure. I really just started kind of getting onto the road, and I would say like I've had some of the funnest and the most scariest moments. I think one of the best, I think, was the first time we wrestled at PAPW. Um, we went to this club after, It was some club in Connecticut. I don't even remember. It was super. It was kind of close to the venue. Um, we had got super drunk. Then we went to the WWE headquarters
What?
to go take pictures because we're like, this is where we're gonna be one day. So let's just go take drunk selfies outside the. Yeah, it's it's crazy. um, that was probably the funnest moment. I don't remember every aspect of it because I was a little
A little Liddy.
I was very litty since I didn't have to drive that day. I was very litty. Um, but like it was kind of being like having that rock star lifestyle that you kind of
Yes.
imagine that a wrestler would have on the road, and
Mhm.
getting to do that with my brothers. That was probably like one of the funnest moments I've ever had.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, my man. We love to hear the stories, really.
Hundred
Uh,
percent. No problem.
no matter how small, how long, how detailed, how little detailed, quick little snippets, long, it does not matter. We just love, because we would never, buying a T-shirt, getting an autograph, getting an 8x10 from the talent with their signature on it as well. We wouldn't hear that kind of stuff. So that's kind of why I asked that little road story question, because while we're at the venues and we're at the merch tables trying to support you guys and girls, we don't really get to hear stuff like that. So I love hearing those little stories, man. Thank you so much for sharing.
100%, no problem. I love letting people in under the world. Is what we do.
And the last thing before I let you go is,
Mm-mm.
for the boys and girls that do not know, who have never heard of Mr. Bobby Buffet, first off, you need a little snack. Second off, uh, where where do we find Mr. Buffet on the old social medias? Do you have a Twitter, a face page, a Pornhub? I mean, what do you got? I mean, hit us, my man.
You can find me on pretty much all social media under Bobby Buffet MFPW. Uh, Probably with the exception of Facebook. If you just search Bobby Buffet, you'll find it. But yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff. Look me up, Bobby Buffet MFPW. YouTube, you can find all my matches there. Um,
Sweet.
and I look forward to interacting with every fan. I think that's like one of the best parts of wrestling, interacting with fans because it's kind of where I get my kind of appreciation from. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of give back for everyone who gives to me. So yeah, come find me.
What a fine way to end this. What a great conversation we had with Mr. Buffet, boys and girls. This was a fine, fine interview. And I cannot wait. Maybe you could make a return down the road. Maybe 6 months, 7, 8, 12 months. You never know. I could always reach out to Mr. Buffet, see what he's up to. Maybe we can have a return.
If there's one thing Bobby Buffet loves to do is to stir the pot.
Yes, yes. I cannot say any more than that. With all of that said, this is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, the Monster Factory heavyweight champion himself, Bobby Buffet. Thank you, my man.
No, thank you. Thank you. I appreciated every moment of this.